Yeah, all right, very good. All right, today is March 21st, 2024. It is 7 p.m. The date and time for the Mount Lebanon Zoning Hearing Board to hear appeal number 1860 for the property at 1743 Helen Drive, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15216. The appellant is William and Jillian, Jillian Lusk, Lusk. And the requested variance for a driveway width. We have in our possession the cover sheet, the petition from Mr. Lusk, the advertisement in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette South, the zoning hearing notice to property owners and interested persons, another part of the application, one of which is a letter from the Lusk family to us. We have a set of plans and designs, including a few pictures and a survey. And the survey is by Timothy Robert Miller. And I don't see a date. A date on the survey? Yes. Ah, sorry. The date is April 25 of some year. It looks like the year is cut off. But that's the survey that we do have in our possession. Okay, thank you. The date. February, so April 26, 2013 is the survey date. There are 4 color photographs taken by the municipality. And that is what we have. So at this time, those who will be testifying, if you could stand and be sworn in by the court reporter, please. All right. So Mr. Lusk, this is your opportunity to address the board and tell us why you believe the variance should be granted.
Thank you. My name is Bill Lusk. I am here representing myself and my wife and my 2 children, 2 dogs that live at 1743 Helen Drive in Mount Lebanon. We are here because we are looking to expand the width of our driveway so that it can accommodate 3 vehicles. Right now, it is only able to accommodate, the house is only able to accommodate 2 vehicles, one in the garage and one in the existing driveway. The desire for 3 is simply because my wife and I are both working. The expectation when our kids grow up will be that they need a vehicle in order to get to school in Mount Lebanon, such that because there's no buses and there's also no on-street parking that is permitted. So we believe, given that the times of today, that is going to turn into something that our family really needs to make our house a forever home, which is our intention. This is our house. We've made this our home. Right now, the driveway, size-wise, from a top-down view, it would appear as if 2 vehicles could be parked in that driveway. However, it is sloped down towards the house with retaining walls on either side, such that only 1 vehicle at the very mouth of the driveway can actually be parked with the doors able to open. If you park in front of that vehicle, your doors are not able to open and they will hit the retaining walls and make it a fairly unusable parking spot. So that is what we are trying to accomplish. In terms of how to accomplish that, given our lot, is why we are here for the variance. To extend the driveway, we can extend that driveway to the right or to the left. What you have in front of you is a plan to extend it to the right, which would, in order to make that driveway approximately 22 feet wide, which is the recommended width for a 2-car driveway, that would have to extend beyond halfway, the half width of the house by, I believe I quote, approximately 5 to 7 feet. So that is the one variance that is being requested, and that is to the section 817.9.4. The other variance that is necessary is that 817.9.5, which is that no driveway shall be wider than 18 feet at the right of way, which working with Rodney, he explained to me extends more than just the width of the sidewalk that goes into the mouth of the driveway a bit. So if you wanted to get 22 feet, that's larger than 18 feet. So that is where that request comes from. So I believe those are the two main variances. And so you can see from the design that I provided you, the request and how that would play out going to the right. The reason what I have here is going to the right is because going to the left, which is permitted per the code to go all the way to, you're allowed to take the driveway all the way to your property line. I'm not able to do that due to a township tree that is on that piece of property. Now, since submitting this, I worked in parallel with Mr. Sukol to see if that tree could be removed and not replaced so that the driveway could be located there. I believe you have a copy of an email from him that does grant that. So that would eliminate the need for the variance to extend beyond half width of the house. However, I would still want a variance to the 18-foot right of way in order to achieve the 22 feet desired, which measuring that out if you take the driveway from the left side of my property to the existing far right side of the driveway is about 22 feet. I might want to extend that retaining wall inwards about 1 more foot potentially, just to make that door open. It does have to open over a little portion of that retaining wall, but it would obviously not extend beyond half width, but that 18-foot variance request would still be necessary to accomplish that design. So I do have 2 design options on the table. If you ask me what I think my preference is, now that I have Mr. Sukol's permission to remove that tree, have that tree removed without replacement, it would be to go left to the property line as opposed to moving to the center. But like I said, it would still require the one variance that is being has been requested, which is 817.9.5. Coming out of this, I think ideally I would like permission for both of these so that I can work with the contractor to ensure we come up with the best plan and have a little bit of flexibility in that process, and then get our permit finalized. But that is what I'm requesting, hoping to achieve here, and why we are here. I don't believe I have anything else to say. That's all I have to say.
Right, thank you. Mr. Carpenter, do you have questions?
I do, Mr. Lawson, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. Are you saying you want to now go left of the driveway, or I just want to make sure I understand.
I would prefer to go left of the driveway now that I have permission to remove that tree
Okay,
from the township. So that would be my first preference, but
Okay.
if there were to be some reason that I can't accomplish that for whatever reason, I would also like to have the option backup plan to
okay,
go
so
right.
you still would be seeking a variance to exceed the 15 feet in
Correct,
case you needed it, but the preference is to go.
correct. If I
I just want to
actually,
make sure I understood the
that's
request
fair,
correctly.
yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry.
What is the current driveway width?
The current driveway, it's about 12 feet at the mouth. A little, probably around 10 feet at the throat. That is my 9 to 10 feet at the throat, and I believe at the mouth, it's about 12 feet.
Okay, and then how did you settle on the 22-foot width that's being requested?
The 22-foot width was from research online for what is the recommended driveway width for a two-car for parking 2 cars. I had thought also that I read that it's a required 22-foot width per section 16.812.3.4 of
Say
the
that section again, I'm sorry.
16-812.3.4.
Just to clarify, you say 16, that's chapter 16.
I believe that's chapter 16.
The zoning ordinances are in chapter 20, so we don't have access to the chapter 16.
Okay, I'd have to,
Okay.
I was using the whole document.
No, I understand. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, that's where the, that was recommended, and I referenced that on the design right here.
And then my last question for you, could you talk a little bit about the slope of your front yard? It's kind of hard to see how steep it is in the photographs.
So the front yard, I'm gonna use this this as a reference. You have. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So if you look, I'm gonna start with the far left and the far right, not the middle. The far left, which is where the tree is and where I would be proposing to put the driveway, where my first preference now is to put the driveway, that is pretty darn flat. If you look to the far right, that is also very flat. Now in the middle, where the second option to park the car, that does have a slight slope to it. I would not say it's significant, but it's certainly graded, sloped down. And the retaining wall as a result would be higher than what it is now. And if you go to another picture, you can see that retaining wall would likely get up to about 4 feet max. Well, I would not exceed 4 feet. Yeah, so if we look at these two pictures.
Okay.
You can see that the retaining wall is 41 inches right here, and that's further back, further down. You come up the driveway and it's looking to be about 27 inches where I would start, and would go up to about 48 inches. So that's about your difference. So you're looking at kind of thinking out loud here, so apologize. About 20 inches of height over a 9-foot length is about the grade that you see there.
Okay.
To put numbers to it.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Rafi?
Yes. So we received an email from a Maria Cast, K-A-S-T, stating that she's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Could you clarify what side is she?
She's on the other side, if you're facing the house to the right.
Okay.
So I would not be going up against her property line.
Have you discussed your plans with the neighbor on the left?
I have not talked about the plan of removing the tree and going to my property line on the left yet with his name is Tom. Last name. I forget his last name. I know Tom very well. He's a older gentleman. I'm just forgetting his last name.
That's okay on the last name. So, um, the zoning ordinance requires 5 criteria for us to be able to grant a variance, and all 5 criteria have to be met. Your documentation did, that you provided did touch on that, but I'd like to just run through each requirement if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So the first requirement states that there are unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of the lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to the particular property, and that the unnecessary hardship is due to such condition and not the circumstances or conditions generally created by the provisions of the zoning ordinance in the neighborhood or district in which the property is located.
Yes. So would you like me to answer that?
Yes.
Okay, so my answer to that is, I have a couple responses. First, is that not having the ability to park 3 cars on the property is a hardship because overnight parking is not permitted, and what I call modern living expectations necessitate with 2 working adults and children to get to school, and no school buses necessitates three vehicles. The slope of the driveway down towards the house that prevents 1 car from being in the garage and 2 being in the existing driveway. So the existing conditions prevent the ability to park 3 vehicles on the property, because you can only, in the existing conditions, you can only park 1 vehicle at the mouth, and that is it. Parking another vehicle in front of it, you can't open the doors due to the slope and the retaining walls. And then I quote in this letter, not being able to go left because of the township-owned silver maple tree. That prevents me from widening towards the nearest property line, and that's why this requested to go towards the middle of the property and beyond the half width. And then, so that was a hardship that I wanted to quote. And then the width of 22 feet, I quoted the chapter 16 that required 16 feet. I'm sorry, that required 22 feet for a side driveway with side-by-side parking. That's my response to that.
Okay, thank you. The second condition is that because of such physical circumstances or conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity of the provisions of the zoning ordinance, and that the authorization of a variance is therefore necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property.
So this is, I'm gonna provide an update to my written response to that. If I was unable to move the tree, that is why I was not able to conform to I was unable to conform to the requirements, which would have said, go to your property line. That would have been, the code would have said, go to your property line. I'm now able to remove that tree. So I would, my now plan A is to remove that tree, not replace it, and go to the property line. And so that eliminates the request for that eliminates the necessity to violate the half width. In terms of the 18 feet in that situation, I'm requesting 22 feet because that is what is quoted for side-by-side for good side-by-side parking.
Would it be possible to install a side-by-side driveway at 22 feet, then narrow down at the right-of-way line to meet that 18 feet?
So you would be, what that would look like would be, at the driveway line, you'd have an 18-foot opening. And then that would include the sidewalk. And it would extend approximately 5 feet further in, and then it would widen. And then, I would have to then make it deeper to then be able to get the cars situated so that they're side by side and, using the, existing garage. So could that be accomplished? Yes, I think it would look weird. And I think it would, I don't think it would look good. It would have a non-uniform symmetry look to it. And, it would then also require me to extend further down into the property, which, is just creating really more pavement. At that point, more hard surface and more things to worry about as a result of that, such as drainage and such. So it just seems unnecessary to do that. But I will say, could that be done? Yes, it just seems unnecessary.
Thank you. All right, the third requirement is that such unnecessary hardship has not been created by the appellant.
Yeah, I did not create, I did not create the existing conditions. I didn't create the existing conditions, the topographical conditions, the desire, I am creating the desire for 3 vehicles. However, I think those conditions are really, being driven by the, I'll just say modern living expectations of 2 working adults, kids, school, getting to school without buses and all those situations that are out of our hands.
Okay, the fourth requirement is that the variance, if authorized, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the property is located, nor substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of the adjacent property, nor to the detrimental to the public welfare.
Yeah, so I'm certainly, understand the intent of these requirements and what they are trying to prevent and trying to ensure an architecturally, the architectural integrity of the community. So in anything that I do, I would have that at the forefront of my mind. This is our forever home. We have gone through a lot of effort to make it look nice. We've improved it a lot. So we would do this in a architectural, or we would do this with the architectural integrity of the house in mind. So with that in mind, moving to the right, if I move to the right, where I extend beyond the halfway of the house, certainly I think that having the back end of a car blocking the front door of a house is not, I would not consider that to be very architecturally appealing. However, in our instance, because of that slope, that vehicle was going to be below the elevation of the front door. So you are not going to be impeding on the front facade of the house. If you move to the left, well, there's no really, other than the 18-foot, there's nothing's preventing that. And again, that would be done with landscaping and making it look nice in mind. I also cite on my written response to these questions that there is a new construction home on Morrison that has a driveway that extends beyond half width of the structure. So I referenced that, indicating that there is precedent for a variance to that request having been granted in the past. And I include a picture of that house as well here.
Just for the record, the house is located at 316 Morrison Drive.
That's all I have for the question, point number 4.
If you go to the left,
Yeah.
would you need a retaining wall?
No, I think only if I do, it'd be under 20 inches in height, along the back, along the front, just on the front as it comes into the, perpendicular to the existing driveway. So I don't think that would, I don't believe it would need a retaining wall, maybe. I have to see how it grades out. But it would only be, it'd be less than 20 inches. I think I can get us, let me see if I have a picture to give a sense for that. Yes, if you look at this picture. The vehicle in that picture on the right, where to the left of the tree that will be removed. That's, let's assume that's roughly the depth that the new portion of the parking of the new driveway would be, and you can see that it's one block. So maybe if it's extended a little forward of that, maybe to put a little curve, I don't know yet. You're looking at 3-4 blocks high, and those blocks are only about 4 inches high. So that's about the magnitude, about a foot.
The reason I ask is the part of that fourth requirement states about permanently impair the use of the neighboring or adjacent property. So if you had to put a retaining wall, you'd have to make sure that that wall would not impair, or you'd have to be able to construct that wall without impairing the neighboring
Yes, understand. And I think that wall would not have to extend all the way across, but understood.
The fifth requirement and last one would be that the variance, if authorized, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and will represent the least modification possible of the regulation in issue.
Yes, so if again, moving to, as written, my written response, assuming moving towards the right, towards the middle of the house, it would extend beyond half the width of the dwelling by 7 feet in order, and that's the amount needed to achieve the required 22-foot for a side-by-side driveway. In terms of the 18-foot, the variance to the 18 feet right of way at the street right of way. Again, I'm using the 22-foot width compared to the 18, so that's the 7-foot difference there as well. So I think the answer to that also is that I'm not looking for a wider driveway than is necessitated by the code. So I think that meets the minimum variance.
You have there's a sidewalk that parallels the street in front of your house?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. What district is this zoned? Is this R1, R2? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to go back to Mr. Rother's first question, and we're talking about the lot itself. And I have looking at the design, not design, the survey of this. It looks to be generally rectangular. It has an area of where it has 120 feet long, an area of 6,132 square feet. And goes back on the narrowest width looks to be 14 feet, 14.78 feet. So I know that it is sloping towards, I'm sorry, 49.23 feet, because I can't read a survey like Mr. Rother can. Thank you. I know that the driveway slopes downward. Generally speaking, is the lot flat?
The back lot is flat because it's the backyards are terraced.
The backyard is terraced, okay?
And the front, like that front, the front is flat on the right and left-hand sides. And then the slope, so that kind of terraces it, but the terrace is in the front of the house, in the middle, that middle grass portion.
So had they not built a driveway, would the front yard be flat?
Had they not built the driveway,
Right, take away the driveway, kind of think of what their lot originally looked like before they built the house and put the driveway in, and the driveway slopes down to the garage.
I would assume it would follow the slope of the Helen Drive.
Sure.
Which is pretty severely sloped.
Okay, so and that slope extends into your front yard?
Yes, except that they terrace it and they put more of a slope in a smaller area so that you have a flat portion here and here, but then you have a slope here.
All right, understand. All right, thank you for that. All right, any other questions, Mr. Kempener?
I do have a follow-up question. If your driveway was wider right now, like say 3 feet arbitrarily, could you park 2 cars in tandem on it?
3 feet wide or two, no, I would not be able to.
Because the driveway is too short?
If I went wider and still go down, the question would be if I can open the doors.
That's what I'm getting at. So if it was just wider, so there's no retaining wall in the way, just imagine there's no retaining wall in the way, it could be as 3-5 feet wider, whatever. Could you park 2 cars? Is there physically enough space to park 2 cars
Front to back,
front to back?
I would have to make the bottom. The answer to that is likely no. I'd only be able to open the left-hand side of the doors, and I'll show you why that is. So if you were to park the second vehicle, the one vehicle is here, the second vehicle is here. Your right-hand side doors are going up against this portion of it, which is not because that is front stoop, the concrete stoop, which again,
For the record, the first picture shown is on the second page of the packet that was provided to us.
that's also. So that front, that is a concrete slab, right? there.
Okay.
So if you park here and here, I can't widen this way. I could widen this way.
That's what I guess I'm asking is if your driveway was here, could you park 2 cars then?
Up the back, yes.
Okay.
I'd have to go. About 5.
Thank you. You'll bring it up.
Mr. Rother, anything?
No questions.
All right, thank you. We're now going to take an opportunity to speak with Mr. Sarver. So if you want to just take a seat right here and we will ask questions of Mr. Sarver. So before we begin, I do want to note that we did have an email provided to us when we arrived, and it was from Rudy Sukal, S-U-K-A-L, who is in the Public Works here in Mount Lebanon, about the tree and granting permission to remove the tree from the driveway. And I did have a, well, why don't I let you state the municipality's position, and then we will ask questions.
So obviously the municipality's position is that the ordinance needs to be complied with, but, in conversation with the property owner, it was discussed with the tree that they could not widen to the left, so that's when he approached and basically applied for an application to expand to the right. Obviously, by the sections that he quoted, which is 817.9.4, which basically states that the driveway can't extend across the front of the house more than half the width of the dwelling. And then the second one was the 18 foot at the right of way. For a couple points of clarification, if you widen to the left and just scaling off of the survey that he provided in his application, which is the design drawing.
Mhm.
You can see on the left, there's scaled dimensions on the left. So if you transfer those, the existing driveway is about 10 feet wide. So if you widen to the left, you could not widen 22 feet because you would be on the neighbor's property. And another point of clarification is that if you go to section 817.9.7, it says for front entry driveways and parking areas may extend to within 2 feet of the side property line. So because the garage is a front entry garage, he cannot extend a driveway closer than 2 feet to the property line. So if you want to amend the variance tonight, I would suggest that that be part of the variance request. Because to get a driveway in there wider than what he wants, you would have to go to the property line, and even that, you would be roughly about less than 20 feet wide. Even if you went to the property line, sticking with the right side of the existing driveway. So you would be very close to the 18 foot width at the right of way. Anyhow. So just going off the scales of what was plotted on there. And the section 16-812.3.4, that comes from the subdivision SELDO ordinance, subdivision land development ordinance. And the 22 feet is referring to a two-way driveway to a parking lot.
Mhm.
So that's where the 22 feet came from. It's from that width for a two-way driveway
Okay.
into a developed private site, not a residential driveway, so. The sections 817.9 is the sections that determines the width of the driveway. The minimum width of the driveway under the zoning ordinance is 8 feet. And then you can see based on sections 817.9.5, the maximum width of a driveway is 18 feet at the front property line or the right of way line. And then you can widen on your property up to 28 feet for a driveway with a parking area and up to 30 feet with a parking area and a turnaround. So I just wanted to point out those measurements just so everybody understands.
Can I ask, from what you just cited, from the 18 feet to where it can begin being the 28 feet, how far off the street are you allowed, is it have to be past the sidewalk?
Well, if you look at the survey that was submitted, Helen Drive is 50 foot wide right away. So a typical Mount Lebanon street is 26 foot wide back to curb to back of curb. So it leaves about 12 feet on either side of the street that is still public right of way. So if you look at the photographs that I took and included in the photograph, the sidewalk looks to be directly behind the curb. So typical sidewalk's 4 foot deep, so you're looking at about, the right of way is about 8 feet behind that curb. So if you looked at probably the upper right photo that I have taken, probably the back edge of that tree or somewhere around that tree is the right of way line.
Thank you. Did you have anything else to offer?
No, I just wanted
Thank you.
points of clarification. Like I said, I mean, it makes it a lot simpler. If that tree was removed, he can expand to the left. But I just wanted to clarify that because it wasn't part of the ordinance. You know, I wanted to clarify the 2 feet requirement as well as the scale of even the proposed driveway measurement that is on the drawing is not 22 feet wide. Based on that scale, it's about 20 feet wide. That he shows on his proposed sketch.
With the driveway approximately 10 feet wide now, there's still 5 feet to play with, to still be within code. So you move to the right 5 feet.
He can move to the right 5 feet, correct? Assuming. Yeah, he can move to the right 5 feet. If the existing driveway is 10 foot wide, then he can go to the right 5 feet.
And would it still be move 5 feet to the right 5 feet? Would it still be possible or allowable by code to move to the left as well?
Well, if you look at the original survey without any markings on it, the driveway is slightly set in from the corner of the house. So that's probably a foot. So in reality, if the driveway's 10 foot wide, if you look at the county website, the image of that shows a 30 foot wide house. That's where the 15 feet comes from, half the width. It shows the front bump out is 10 foot wide. So it might be that each side of the front bump out is 10 foot each. So the driveway might even be less than that. If it's, you know, I'm just based on the survey without measuring it, I don't know. But for example, if you have a foot on the left to the corner of the house and then you have a 10 foot driveway, technically, if you want to expand to both the left and the right, you can only go 4 feet to the right because you're using up a left on the other side or 1 foot on the left, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Thank you.
And then one other question I had was regarding the property at Morrison Drive that the appellant had mentioned. Was that through zoning? Was that the
There's
initial?
no variant. I
discussion?
could not find any variance case for that.
Okay, so this board did not do, somebody else may have permitted that in some other.
Either it was permitted or it was done without a permit, so
I understand.
we'd have to look into that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Company, do you have questions?
I do have one question. In section 817.9.4, it references the paved portion of the parking area. What is paved portion defined as? Or maybe I can tell you why I'm asking. Would it be permissible to do like a geosystems type product that basically has grass grow through it, but you can still park on it?
I would have to, I don't think it defines that because it's not italicized. But if you just go to the definition of driveway, it says an impervious surface. That's the first thing it says, an impervious surface for vehicle access to a building, comma, garage, comma, parking facility, comma, or other vehicular facility, comma, lot or parcel of land, period.
Okay.
So maybe that's just referring that you don't count a sidewalk or a grass yard that a door could swing over as part of the width. But to be honest with you, I've nobody's ever asked me that, and I've never thought about it, to be honest with you.
I wasn't sure because I know those systems do allow, rainwater to go through them, which is part of the point of it.
And you can use that now that stormwater is an issue as part of our stormwater management ordinance, you can do that. And we would still let you do that as an impervious surface on your own land. But we wouldn't let you do it within the right of way. So you would still have to put a concrete, because there's other sections of the ordinance that require 6-inch thick broom finish concrete in the right of way of a driveway or a sidewalk crossing a driveway or a driveway apron.
Okay.
So they can do that as long as it's concrete in the right of way. We would allow somebody to do that type of material as a driveway for stormwater management purposes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rother. Do you have a question?
I have no questions.
Thank you. And I have no further questions as well. Are there, we're going to move to the public comment portion. Is there anyone online? Do we know?
Nobody signed it.
All right, thank you. I will note also that we had received the previously mentioned email from Maria Cast, K-A-S-T, at 1743 Helen Drive, stating that she has no problem with the neighbors widening their existing driveway. So that email we did receive from neighbor input. Is there anything else you had to add before we withdraw to consider?
I learned a few things from Mr. Sarver as well. I had not caught the 2-foot for a front driveway. I did not catch the 2-foot you can only go to the property, you have to be within 2 feet of your property line, so acknowledge that limitation. In that, my goal would, in the design, if moving to the left, removing the tree, the driveway would obviously not extend beyond 2 feet from the property line. In order to get the desired width, I would move further to the right towards the middle, but then not obviously extend beyond the 5 feet that's allowed, so that I don't extend beyond half width. Would be my goal, and that would be plenty of driveway. I wouldn't, if I, that 2 feet, that would be fine. So I understand that. Still, just to be clear, my ultimate goal would not to be limited to 18 feet at the opening, and to be able to go wider than that. So I am requesting that specific variance, and that's all so that's just acknowledging the feedback that I heard. through the
You-
discussions.
May I,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman? If you have any other questions about that, feel free to ask them now.
I'm gonna be working with you for the permits and all, all
Yeah.
that, so I will.
if we don't have anything further, we will go into executive session. So you can stay in here and we're gonna go chat and we'll come back to you. Right, we are back on the record for appeal number 1860, and we are prepared to vote. Mr. Campanera, how do you vote?
I vote to deny.
Mr. Rother, how do you vote?
I vote to deny.
And I also vote to deny. So you will receive a formal denial from the inspection office and proceed from there. So at that time, we are closed. Thank you. And
Variance to both of the codes.
Correct.
From
Yes.
those directions.
yeah, our thought is, and you'll see